Yes, you lot, welcome back to the Louis Talks Footy channel. It is an honour to have you back, but if you're new, please hit the subscribe button, nudge the like button, all that good stuff. It massively helps the channel out and it helps me grow, pushes this video out to more people, so please do that now. Right, the video I have for you lot today is a combined 11, a current combined 11 of Arsenal and Manchester City ahead of the Carabao Cup final on Sunday. Which Man City are going to win? I'm going to preface this by saying this combined 11 is going to be completely unbiased. Nah, but it actually is. I'm going to try and be as unbiased as possible. No injured players are going to be included in this combined 11. It is just going to be purely who is available to play on Sunday. Without further ado, we're going to get straight into the video, and the first position is goalkeeper. Now listen, for me, these are the two best goalkeepers in the league. But yeah, it is going to be Donnarumma, and that's not City bias. I truly think this guy is the best shot stopper in the world. Maybe Courtois pushes him a little bit, but in terms of pure shot stopping, I think Donnarumma is absolutely elite. I genuinely think the ability that this guy has in terms of his shot stopping is generational. It doesn't come around very often at all. I'm so happy City managed to get this guy. Some Manchester City fans are out here saying that Donnarumma is the issue to all our problems, that Donnarumma needs to be sold, that we need to stop playing Donnarumma and start playing James Trafford. Listen, I get it. Donnarumma's distribution isn't as good as what I've seen previously from Manchester City keepers. You look at Ederson, the best distributing goalkeeper of all time in football. But at the end of the day, his shot stopping wasn't on the same level as Donnarumma, and Donnarumma is flipping amazing. So for me, he gets in there over David Raya. David Raya is an amazing keeper as well. We'll never stop hearing about the golden gloves that he gets, all this kind of thing that Arsenal fans want to constantly talk about. But when it comes to David Raya versus Donnarumma, I can't argue it. I just don't think it's a debate. I think Donnarumma is by far the better keeper. I think Donnarumma's distribution is actually a little bit underrated. The only thing I would be a little bit skeptical about with Donnarumma, which I really think he needs to improve on, is his ability to claim crosses from corners. I think that he does lack a little bit in that kind of department of goalkeeping. He seems to flap at balls a little bit too much when he doesn't need to. You'd just like him to catch it or just punch it away straight away if necessary. But that's the only kind of thing that I'd really pick out in terms of Donnarumma's game that he drastically needs to improve on. Probably the only thing I'd say. But listen, David Raya is elite. I really rate him. I just can't put him ahead of Donnarumma on this one. I'm sorry. So Donnarumma gets in. So far it's 1 out of 11 for Manchester City. Onto the right back position. And I feel like this one might be a little bit more of an argument than people would like to make out, specifically Arsenal fans. Obviously, Jurrien Timber's out. If he was fit, he'd be straight into the side. I don't think there'd be really much question. I think he's one of the best right backs in the league, alongside the likes of Reece James, Livramento, those kind of guys. But he isn't fit. So Arsenal's option is Ben White. I really rate Ben White. I think he's class. And I think it speaks volumes about how Arsenal's strength in depth has developed over the past couple of years. The fact that they've got Ben White, one of the best right backs in the league, as well as Jurrien Timber, Reece James, all those kind of players. He is also one of the best right backs in the league, and he doesn't start. He would start for most teams in Europe as right back, and he doesn't get into Arsenal's side. So, like I say, it speaks volumes about the strength and depth and the squad they've built over the last couple of years. He comes up against Matheus Nunes from Manchester City. I think this guy does not get the respect and the plaudits he deserves one bit. I really think he puts in a shift going forward, and he puts in a shift defensively as well. I think also when you look at the boots that he's filling of Kyle Walker, he's got a lot of pace. He can go forward, he can whip crosses in. But also, like I said, he does the job defensively as well, and that's a massive part of the game. Especially nowadays, the Premier League has become a lot more physical. You have to be robust, you have to be strong, you have to be a big presence. And Matheus Nunes doesn't typically fit that kind of mould, but he's doing a job, and he has been doing a job for the last couple of seasons, whichever way you want to spin it. Matheus Nunes has been very solid for Manchester City. I think if we look at the stats head-to-head between Matheus Nunes and Ben White, obviously Nunes has played way more minutes than Ben White. Matheus Nunes has played 2,267 minutes in the Premier League this season, compared to Ben White's 411 minutes. So I'd make the argument that you can't really pick Ben White when Matheus Nunes has played way more minutes, and obviously we've got a bigger sample size to go on when we're looking at Matheus Nunes' performances for Manchester City this year, and that's a completely valid argument. But if I'm being totally honest, I really do think Ben White is a better player than Nunes. I think in most departments as well, you look at going forward, I think Ben White is better going forward. I think in defence defence. He looks better in defence. And I think his all-round footballing IQ is probably a little bit better than Matheus Nunes's as well. Feel like Matheus Nunes can get caught out in transition quite frequently. And I just would pick Ben White over him if I'm being totally honest. Like I said, I'm trying to be unbiased. And yeah, I think Ben White's a better player than Nunes. Right back, Arsenal get the first player in here, and it's going to be Ben White. On to the two centre-backs now, and we're first going to start off with right centre-back. Obviously, it's going to be William Saliba. Let me put him in straight away in here now. Let's just get it out of the way. I don't think any defender at Manchester City gets in over William Saliba, to be perfectly honest with you. I feel like he's a proper Rolls Royce of a centre-back. He's composed, he's calm, he's cool, he's good on the ball. And obviously, he puts in a flipping massive shift defensively as well. Perfectly timed tackles, non-stop blocking shots, commanding his line. I feel like William Saliba is so good. And there's a reason why the likes of Real Madrid want him, and he's one of the best centre-backs in the world. So I can't argue with William Saliba getting straight in there. But I do want to mention the guy that is probably going to play in that position for Manchester City, and that's Kusanov. Kusanov for me is still so underrated. I feel like as football fans, you kind of look at players that play for your team and you know way more about them, what they're capable of, how they've been performing, and you cotton onto that way before anybody else who supports different teams, because obviously you watch your team every single week. And for me, Kusanov doesn't get the respect he deserves by other Premier League fans. I think he's absolutely elite. You talk about perfectly timed tackles. That might have been a little bit of a situation that we had to look at. Maybe when Kusanov first came into Manchester City, he looked like a bit of a headless chicken at times. He looked like a bit of a loose cannon flying into challenges when he didn't need to. He looked like he could potentially give penalties away quite easily. Kusanov for me has developed so much in 1 year, it's freakish. I really do think this guy could be one of the best centre-backs in the world in the next couple years. And I think he's the future of Manchester City's defence. People like to talk about, oh, it's just his pace, he's a pace merchant, this and that. People don't look at how good this guy is on the ball. On the ball, Kusanov is so comfortable and he's elite. He can float balls over the top, even quick, simple passes. He does it easily. He looks so much calmer and composed than he did when he first came into the side. And he's also got that absolute dog in him. And I love that about Kusanov. I think he's going to be a great player for Manchester City. But unfortunately, Saliba gets in here for this one. So it's 2-1 to Arsenal currently. Left centre-back, this one isn't a debate either. I'm so sorry. It's difficult for me to do this. But yeah, I can't argue with it. It's going to be Gabriel from Arsenal. Feels like Gabriel's on the score sheet every single week, scoring a little header from a set piece. I just can't not put Gabriel in there. I think he's the best centre-back in Europe. I'm just trying to think now of people that could potentially be challenging him for that kind of title. And I don't think there's anyone that does. I think Gabriel is the best centre-back in Europe. So I'm going to stick Gabriel at left centre-back. Left back now, and it's between Hincapié and Aït-Nouri. And, mate, I think Hincapié is so solid as well. It's going to be an all Arsenal back line. I'm so sorry it is. It's not really a crazy thing to say, is it, though? Like, considering Arsenal are literally like the best defensive team in the world. Like, to have an all Arsenal backline isn't that crazy. I think these two are very different kind of players. I think Aït-Nouri is very much high flying, attacking fullback, and I think Hincapié obviously can do the dirty work in defence a little bit better than Aït-Nouri for me. But I just think Hincapié is a more well-rounded player, to be honest. And like I say, if we're doing who I'd prefer to have in my team for the cup final, I think I'd rather have Hincapié than Aït-Nouri. But to be fair, you look at the way Aït-Nouri links up with the likes of Ryan Cherki, Jeremy Doku. I think there's a real chemistry that's building in the Manchester City side, and I think that might be something to look out for next season. Right, the midfield three I'm going to do is a 6, 8 and a 10, and in the 6, I'm going with the Ballon d'Or winner. Like, again, listen, I said it with the Arsenal guys of the centre-backs. I said you can't argue with it. I'm putting them straight in. I'm doing the same with Rodri here. I'm doing the same with the Ballon d'Or winner. I'm not going to not put him in there. I'm so sorry. Zubimendi has been amazing since he's come in for Arsenal. I really think he's actually revolutionised their midfield quite a lot. I can't not put Rodri in here, though. I feel like Rodri, since he's come back from injury, he definitely needs to improve. I feel like he needs to still have a little while to get up to the standard he was at before he got injured. And I don't think he's reached the same levels yet, but I think in glimpses we've seen Rodri get back up to maybe 89-90% at times. Literally, I'm talking in small glimpses, 80-90% of what he was at times. I feel like Zubimendi has massively improved Arsenal since last season in terms of the way he dictates the tempo. He's just one of those players that just keeps everything going, keeps it ticking, ties everything all together. but I just can't not put Rodri in. I'm sorry, this is my guy. I can't not put him in. The number 8 has to be Declan Rice for me. I'm sorry, it does. I feel like Rice is one of those guys that's in the upper echelon of midfielders in the world, in Europe at the moment. I think he's so good. I don't really think anyone competes with him in the Premier League. Maybe Bruno Fernandes, and then I feel like Bruno Fernandes is better than Declan Rice, to be fair. But I think they're obviously two different kind of players. In terms of number 8, you're looking at the likes of Pedri, who's, I feel like Pedri's way better than him, but I feel like he is in those kind of conversations, and I don't think City have got anyone in the midfield right now that is really doing that. Maybe Rodri, but even so, currently he isn't really in those conversations. So I think Declan Rice definitely gets in there. Who would you have in there for Manchester City? Might be Bernardo Silva. Nico O'Reilly has played that kind of role this season. I don't think either of those two touch Rice this season. Pause. The number 10 for Arsenal is Eberechi Eze, and the number 10 for Manchester City is Ryan Cherki. I think this one is so clear cut. I'm not going to even really contest it. It's Ryan Cherki for me. Ryan Cherki brings something to City that we don't have in any other player. He has the ability to change a game from one-dimensional, boring, lack of creativity to the complete opposite. He creates a new dimension, a new outlet of creativity, a new outlet of passes. You know when Ryan Cherki's on the pitch that nothing's a given. You can't be predictable when Ryan Cherki's on the pitch because the guy is so unpredictable. I said it even when Ryan Cherki was at Lyon. This guy has the ability to unlock a defence like nobody else. And I've likened him to De Bruyne before, and listen, that is crazy. Hear me out though. I've likened him to De Bruyne in the way that he is that player at Manchester City that can change a game. He obviously doesn't get near De Bruyne if we're talking about Ryan Cherki as he is at the moment. It's his first season at Manchester City. It's incomparable to even mention them in the same breath. Ryan Cherki has the ability to do something that nobody else can. You know, when De Bruyne was at Manchester City in his pomp, I'd always look for him to do something crazy or to unlock a defence, or if there was a game where we're drawing 1-1 and it's looking stagnant and we're looking like we're going to drop points, De Bruyne would be the guy to take the ball by the horns and do something magic. I really feel like Ryan Cherki is that kind of similar mold of player, similar kind of feel of player, that he's the guy that can do that for Manchester City at the moment. So listen, I really love Ryan Cherki. Eberechi Eze is a beautiful football player. I feel like on his day he's absolutely elite. He's a little bit too inconsistent for me, and I feel like the expectations set out for him when he came to Arsenal were quite high, and I don't think he's quite met that. Since he's come to Arsenal, he showed it in glimpses. He had a very good game against Leverkusen midweek, and obviously games against Spurs, things like that. He's shown it in glimpses, but he's not done it consistently enough. It's not to say Cherki's been so consistent for City this year. He hasn't. I just would take him over Eberechi Eze. On to the front three now, and the right winger, this is obviously going to be Bukayo Saka for Arsenal, and the right winger for City, I'm going to go with Antoine Semenyo. Obviously, Semenyo's not an out-and-out right winger, but I want to put Doku on the left as my City representative to put forward. So I'm going to go with Semenyo on the right wing. These two guys, for me, are two different kinds of players. I feel like Antoine Semenyo isn't the kind of guy that's going to be influencing the game all game. He isn't going to be a constant threat. He's going to be the kind of guy that will show up when he needs to. If there's a chance on goal, Antoine Semenyo will take it. He's a poacher. He's a finisher. He reminds me of Sterling in that kind of way, that he's always in the right place at the right time and he seems to be bagging goals. But Bukayo Saka isn't that kind of winger for me. I feel like you look at his stats as well. He's not really a goals and assists guy, but he influences the game in other ways. There's a reason that he's Arsenal's captain. Obviously, in previous years, he's done so well for Arsenal, and this year he's still been good as well, but he hasn't reached the levels that he has in previous seasons. And for that reason, I'm going to go with Antoine Semenyo, because I feel like he has been the best winger in the league this season. Maybe you look at Mbeumo, maybe you look at Doku. I feel like Antoine Semenyo is definitely in that conversation of best wingers in the league this year, and I don't think the same can be said about Bukayo Saka. So I'm going to go with Antoine Semenyo on the wing. Onto the striker position now. I'm going to get this one out of the way dead quick. It's going to be Erling Haaland. There's not much debate about it. I'm not even doing this to mess with you lot. Gyökeres isn't the same level. He can't be mentioned in the same breath as Erling Haaland. I find it laughable when Arsenal fans want to try and, say Gyökeres is coming out of his shell and he's becoming the player that we wanted. I don't buy it at all. I really don't think Gyökeres is good enough to play for Arsenal. I don't think he's going to get to a level where he's going to be good enough to play for Arsenal. And to be honest, I feel like if Arsenal fans really look deep into their heart, I feel like if Arteta and the board at Arsenal really look at it, they know that Gyökeres isn't going to be leading the line for Arsenal. I feel like if you've got the likes of Gabriel Jesus, Kai Havertz, Mikel Moreno at your disposal, you're going to use them every single day the week ahead of Victor Gyökeres. So Haaland is getting in for me. Also, I just want to mention, I don't think Haaland's been good for Manchester City for quite a little bit of time now. Obviously, his main game is scoring goals. We all know that about Erling Haaland. And I think the other side of his game in terms of his build-up play, his ability on the ball, has developed a lot in recent years. And I think we're only seeing that develop more and more. You know, nobody can say that Haaland isn't having a dry spell at the moment. He is. And he really needs to find his way out of that, dig his way out of that. I don't know whether it's exhaustion. It feels like he always seems to go on a little bit of a dry spell, you know, halfway through the season. And you know, he always seems to find his feet a little bit. He starts the season on fire, goes through a little bit of a dry spell, finds his feet again. Kind of pattern with Erling Haaland. But, you know, this is quite an extended dry spell. And, you know, I'm really rooting for him to get out of that and start bagging goals consistently again. But, yeah, Haaland undoubtedly gets in for me. The left winger I'd go with for Arsenal is probably Leandro Trossard. Gabriel Martinelli is a very good player. I just think Leandro Trossard's better. I feel like he influences the game much more than Gabriel Martinelli. So, yeah, I just prefer Trossard. That's just my preference. For Manchester City, I'd go with Jeremy Doku. And if anybody follows the channel consistently or knows me, you'll know how highly I rate Jeremy Doku. I genuinely think he is one of the best wingers in the league, and I think he's only going to get better. I think he's going to be one of the best wingers in the world. Give him another season, year and a half. I feel like Jeremy Doku is going to be right in that conversation. You know, I feel like this guy's ability is literally second to none when you're talking about taking on players 1v1. And obviously the other side of his game does need to develop, but I think, like I said about Erling Haaland, his on-the-ball work, I feel like it's come on leaps and bounds in recent years. And I feel like since last season, Jeremy Doku's output and decision-making has gotten a lot better. Obviously, that still needs to massively improve. There's no doubt about that. He needs to improve his decision-making, stuff like that. We always see it in games. Jeremy Doku can make better decisions. But like I say, I do think it's drastically improved from last year. I feel like his passing is so good as well. I think that's a really underrated part of Jeremy Doku. People look at him and his explosivity and his ability to take on his man. And obviously that's second to none. But you look at some of the passes that this guy's put in throughout the season. Honestly, some of them are De Bruyne-esque. And that's not me gassing him. That's genuinely, if you watch Jeremy Doku and you've seen what he has in his locker, he has the ability to put in an eye-of-the-needle pass, pinpoint accuracy. And listen, I think his crossing's getting better as well. I feel like he's sticking balls in the box more and more. And this guy's so unpredictable for me. And that's why I like Jeremy Doku. Every time he gets on the ball, I don't know what he's going to do with it. But yeah, I really like him. He really gets me excited. Pause. I already think he's one of the best wingers in the league, and I only think he's going to progress. You look at the likes of Mo Salah when he was Jeremy Doku's age. He wasn't doing the stuff that Jeremy Doku's doing. So people who want to say he's not good enough for Manchester City, we need to get him gone, or all these kind of things, I don't buy it. I think we need to give this guy time. We need to nurture the talent that he has and see how he progresses from there. But for me, in this combined 11, Doku is getting in straight away. So that's 6 Manchester City players into this combined 11 and only 5 Arsenal players. So Manchester City win this combined 11. Hopefully, we can actually win the match on Sunday as well. If you did enjoy this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Please let me know anything you disagree on. I always like having debates with people in the comment section down below. But with that, I hope Manchester City batter Arsenal at the weekend, and I'll see you lot in a bit.